Okay, this message is for someone very specific. So if you don't resonate, this is not for you. But for the person this is for, I'm feeling that you want to leave this person so badly. You feel it in your bones, but you've had a realization recently. You got to a certain point, and this point made you realize that you feel like you can't leave. You almost feel like a prisoner in this relationship, whatever it is. It may even just be like a, what do they call it nowadays? Situationship. It may not be a full-blown relationship, but it's someone that you are very deeply enmeshed with. They're a very important person in your life, but at the same time, they're causing you so much anguish. And I say anguish over pain because I don't even think you realize it's pain yet. It's just anguish because you don't feel like you can leave. And so the feelings you're getting they're strong, they're intense. You get to a point where you even just like sit down and cry and just let all of that build up out. But then once you're done, you still are like, well, I can't leave. And I want to say something that some of this is going to trigger you, and that's okay. That's good. I want you to think of you being triggered as you getting little messages from your body, right? So when we're triggered, it's basically like someone or something is shining a light on something from your past, and illuminating something that was painful from the past. And so you might be triggered a little bit here. And if so, like, I would suggest to write it down. Write down what I said and how it triggered you and what you felt in your body. So, and this video is definitely different from all of my other videos. I woke up this morning feeling like this intense heaviness. It was like a not a giving up energy, but like just a suppressive energy. And so, okay. So the first thing we want to really dive into is what recently happened to get you to this point where you realized you really need to leave. I want you to think about that. Think about what happened or didn't happen that made you realize that this person is not good for you. They're not good for you. On multiple, maybe even multiple levels, they're not good for you. But what happened that made you realize this? And now I want you to take what happened and I want you to think about, okay, well, yes, okay, I just woke up, so I'm trying to keep my camera on my bed, and it's kind of funky, so let's see if this will work. Okay, so take what you were feeling, what happened and what you were feeling, and now think to past situations, like, and I'm talking like maybe even childhood situations with your parents, because we're talking about relationship here. We're talking about someone you are in some sort of relationship with, and our relationships in this lifetime are really like meant to like shine lights on certain things. Or it's like certain people are supposed to mirror certain things about us or certain things about our past so that we can like grow, like learn and grow from them. And so think about your past. Think about the dynamic you have with this person right now. Is this a similar dynamic? Maybe if you're a female, maybe it's the dynamic you kind of had with your dad. I want you to sit and think about this. This is me having a conversation. This video is going to be, it might be a bit long. I don't know how long it's going to be, but so right now just really sit and think about that. Is the dynamic that you have with this person familiar? Is the thing that's keeping you here in this dynamic because it's familiar? Is it because it's familiar that you feel safe? However, you're not safe. You're not emotionally safe here. But there's something about it that makes you feel like you're safe here and that you can't leave. This could be a codependent relationship. More than likely, it's codependency, because when you feel like you cannot leave someone, that's basically saying that you are not whole and complete on your own, and you could not live without that person. And if you feel deep down, when you're real and honest with yourself, if you feel like you can't live without this person, that means that there's something within you that you have not discovered yet. That means that there's a power within you. There's something within you that you have not tapped into yet, because you don't feel whole and safe and secure. And the big thing is whole. You don't feel whole and complete by yourself. You feel like you really desperately need this person. And that's okay. I'm not here to make you feel bad about this. Please don't feel bad about this. This is like, if you're here listening to this and you're resonating with this, and there's something that happened that made you realize this, I almost want you to celebrate it. Okay, you may not feel like you're in that space right now where you could celebrate this because it's causing you a lot of pain and turmoil and anguish. But once we move past this, you're going to be able to celebrate this moment. Trust me. I've been here before in the past, and like, it could be like the most intense pain that you have ever felt in the moment, and you almost feel like what you're supposed to do next is almost like impossible. You feel like, how are you supposed to do it? Like, you don't see a life without this person. You don't see, oh, there's a bug in my room. Anyway, you don't feel like you see a life without this person. You don't know how you could survive without this person. And maybe there's some financial stuff tied in with this. Maybe there's something, maybe there's something you're like, well, this person and I together, this person provides a certain level of finances that I need. So I want you to also take away that need. Take need out of your vocabulary when you're dealing with this person right now, when you're dealing with them in your head, when you're having the conversations with yourself. Take need out of it, because no one ever needs anything from someone else. And you may not have never felt this before. You may have never felt like everything that you need is already within you, and you already have everything you need to survive on your own. So this could be a very scary time. And I'm not trying to diminish that at all, because it can feel very scary. But I want you to know that you don't need what they're providing. If this person is emotionally abusing you, if you are feeling, if they make you feel bad about yourself, if there's emotional, verbal abuse, anything like that, maybe even physical abuse, if there is something going on, if there's a dynamic in this relationship, whatever it is, and that you do not like because it is causing you emotional, physical, mental pain and anguish, you don't deserve that, and you don't need them. That is a sign that whatever they have that you have currently in your life, you really don't need that. And actually, when you remove that from your life, something bigger and better is going to eventually come into your life. Okay, so I kind of got off topic there for a moment, but so I want you to see if there's a pattern. When we are codependent, it means that we have not yet discovered something within ourselves. And so we are seeking it from someone else, and seeking it from someone else, and getting that from someone else. is like, it's not secure. When you are seeking and getting something from someone else outside of yourself, you're giving your power away. Because essentially, when you say that you need this person, you're saying that I cannot be on my own by myself. You're giving your power to this person. And some people that tend to abuse and manipulate can feel that. They can sense that. They know that you're going to stay no matter what they do because you need them. They can feel that. They know that. Okay, so I don't want you to feel bad about yourself for being here, because when you have never been taught that you are everything that you need and you do not need anything outside of yourself, when you're taught to maybe even seek it, sometimes religion teaches you to seek it outside of yourself, right? You are not whole and complete and a good person by yourself. It's you need something outside of yourself. That can teach us subconsciously that we can never be complete and whole by ourselves. We always need something. That might resonate with you. It might just be that your parents didn't show you and teach you that you are everything you need. You can be everything you need. That is what we are supposed to be, whole by ourselves, right? Okay, so think back. Are you making a connection? If you're making a connection to how this person treats you, or a dynamic, maybe it's just a dynamic of feeling like you need this type of person in your life because this is familiar, this is what I'm used to, and the familiar is safe. Okay, your ego, your brain, your mind is going to tell you that familiar is safe when it could be very dangerous and you probably really need to leave. So what's going to happen when you try to leave? All sorts of stuff is going to come up. All sorts of limiting beliefs are going to come up. You're going to be faced with the raw essence of who you are in the moment. And that can be scary too. That can be a big realization that, oof, there's a lot of maybe, I don't want to call it work, because work has a negative connotation, right? But there's a lot of self-discovery yet to be had in order to get you to a place where you feel whole and complete on your own. So if you're realizing you're making that connection, now I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. Okay, let's say I'm just gonna pick something. Let's say you think and believe in the moment right now that this person I have the same similar dynamic with this person as I did with my dad. Maybe he's emotionally unavailable. Maybe he's a bit emotionally abusive, maybe a bit verbally abusive. Did you ever have to walk on eggshells in your home when you were a kid around the parent that caused some issues? Do you feel like you have to walk on eggshells in this relationship? If you're making the connection that you are in a relationship with someone very similar, or a dynamic very similar to the person that used to cause you pain in your childhood, I want you to celebrate it. I want you to just be like, oh my God, I did that. I got into a relationship with someone who reminds me of my parent. That wasn't a healthy thing. Because we do this. This is very common. This is so common. I married someone in my 20s that had certain things that were identical to my dad. I didn't see it at the time, because we don't tend to see these things at the time, right? It can be a very subconscious connection. We can be drawn to certain people on a subconscious level because it's familiar. And maybe we don't even realize consciously that it's familiar until way down the line when you're at your wit's end and you're like, holy crap. It's okay. It's okay, because a lot of people do this. And the people who get into these relationships and never make the connection, those are the people who are going to suffer for a very long time. The people who get in these relationships and then at some point something hits them, like it's like a breaking point. Sometimes it takes getting to the rock bottom of something to, like, when you feel like you're at rock bottom, and you might be there right now. And if you're there right now, I'm sending you so much love, because I know how hard it is. I know how painful it is. It was excruciating when I got to that point. So I'm not diminishing the pain that you're in right now. But once you can kind of see what it is that was attracting you to this person, and now you're aware that you feel a bit codependent on this person, you feel codependent, now it's time to look inward. Okay, so you've made the connection, and I'm going to say something now that might hurt a little bit, but it's also such a blessing to be able to realize. In order to change anything in the external world, in order to change the types of people that are attracted to us and that we attract and that we are attracted to, in order to change anything on the outside, anything in your outside world, any type of relationship dynamic that keeps showing up in your life, in order to shift that and change it, we have to realize that it starts with us. We have to change in order for the things and the people in our life to start to change. So, in order to change anything, in order to change being able to get, in order for you to be able to get to a point where you can get out of this relationship, you yourself need to change. Okay? And how do we do that? What needs to change? We need to start loving ourselves fully for exactly who we are. Flaws, whatever you call a flaw, whatever you might have picking up or like believed was a flaw based on other people saying it was, from your past, your childhood, maybe school. So once you realize that in order for anything to change, you need to change, now it's like a diving deep into what needs to change in order for this dynamic to not be appealing, to not show up in your life, for you to be able to break away from this dynamic, for you to be able to break away. So when I say that you need to leave this person, and you know it, you know you need to leave, you feel it deeply, it may not be a thing where you can just call them up right now and be like, I'm done, walk away and be good. I understand that. You may not be able to do it right in this moment. I do want to say one thing though. If you are in harm's way, if you are being like physically, if you are in physical danger, emotional danger is as bad, but if you are in physical danger, then maybe you do need to leave right now. But I also want to say that when I reached this point with my personal relationships, I was still intertwined with a person that was the person that came into my life to show me I was codependent. I truly believe that. This person entered my life at a time where I was vulnerable. I was very vulnerable. And I truly believe that this person was meant to come in to show me where and why I was codependent, so that I could reach this rock bottom, so that I could have the realization, and so that I could start working on myself to get stronger to a point where I could leave. So now if you're living in the same place as this person, this might be harder to do when you're living with this person. I was not living with the person that I reached the rock bottom at. So there was a level of separation. I had my own space and my own time to be able to do this work. So if you are living with this person, if you are able to maybe stay with someone else while you're doing this work before you feel like you can leave them, your situation is going to determine how you start working with this, and when you start working with this, and when to leave. So be safe, be very aware of your situation and what you don't don't quiet that intuitive voice inside of you. And you may not have that intuitive voice speaking very strongly right now, because when you're in this kind of space, it's hard to see red flags. It's hard to see. It's hard to connect because you're not connected yet deeply with yourself. So your intuition may be kind of quiet. But if you are getting any nudge, follow it. Follow your gut. Always follow your gut. Your intuition is always going to lead you in the right direction. Okay. So you want to leave, and you want to develop. You want to figure out. I was going to say fix, but there's no fixing. You're not broken. You're not broken. You are a product of your programming and your belief systems that were installed in childhood. If you're operating on autopilot, if you haven't, you may have just reached that point where you're now like, ooh, you're seeing things. You've just awakened to something. And that's great. That's good. That's amazing. So many people don't ever awaken to their programming. So start to really ask yourself, why am I allowing this into my life? And really be honest with yourself. Allow whatever comes up to come up. Why are you allowing this in your life? And asking, I love the question, why? Why has helped me work through so much from my past. So whenever you're stumped and you're just like, well, I don't know the solution to something. If you don't know the solution to something, ask yourself why. So these are some good questions to ask yourself when you are in a relationship that you want to get out of. Why am I allowing this in my life right now? Why did I allow this in my life? When was the first time that you realized this wasn't exactly healthy? What came up at that point that made you feel like that? So what came up? What was it that made you realize this wasn't healthy? Was it a feeling? Was it a sensation? Did you realize, oh, this person makes me feel bad about myself? That's a big one. And then, so asking why is going to get you to a place where you're like, okay, this is why I allowed it in my life. Maybe this is all you've ever attracted into your life up until this point. Okay, and that's very common. That's very common. If you've been programmed to think that a certain type of dynamic in a relationship is normal, it's going to be very easy for you to allow that over and over into your life because that's familiar. It's what you know. It's what was normal to you in a childhood, right? And when we grow up, like when you're a child and you're born into a family dynamic and your brain is a sponge at that point, it's just taking everything in. Everything when you are a child, a young child, you are absorbing everything and you are creating beliefs around it. So if your parents are mean to each other, that's going to go into your subconscious as normal. Like, okay, mom and dad, they don't like each other. They're mean to each other. Okay, well, that's normal. Okay, so you're going to pick a lot of stuff up in childhood and you're going to deem it normal in your subconscious mind. And then when that is normal and familiar, you are going to attract that into your life. Now that we know that it's something we do not want in our life, now we got to ask why we allowed it. Knowing that you do not want it anymore is great. That is like a huge stepping stone. Okay, so you don't want this in your life anymore. So now start asking yourself, who do I need to become that basically who won't allow this into their life? So sit and really connect with yourself and be like, who do I need to become in order to not have this in my life? Where are you giving your power away? What are they providing to you? What are they providing to you that you don't feel like you have already, and start working there. Start working with that. So if you feel like you can't make it on your own, if you feel like you cannot survive in this world on your own, why? Why don't you feel that way? There's going to be a lot that's going to come up on here. And I think I'm running out of camera space. So I might do a sequel to this when more information comes through. But now that you've discovered that you don't want this, and you want to deepen your connection, you want to deepen the connection with yourself first. First and foremost, self-love is going to heal a lot of this. So the first thing I would really recommend, other than leaving this person, if you are able to, is start to connect with yourself. Start to have some alone time with yourself. Even if that feels uncomfortable, it might feel uncomfortable at the beginning, especially if you're codependent. You may feel very uncomfortable being alone with yourself. But being alone with yourself and sitting in quietness, okay? No distractions, no escapism. Turn off the TV, do not scroll. Sit quietly with yourself and just start asking yourself questions. How can I leave this person? Who do I need to become to be able to leave this person? You have all the answers within yourself. You do. If you want some guidance, reach out to me. Comment below. I'll link my Instagram page and reach out through a DM there or something. But who do I need to become to leave this person? What am I getting from this person that I feel like I can't have on my own? That's a huge one. Really journal about this stuff. Really start going inward. Go inward. You're going to find the answers inside. You're not going to find the answers outside. You're not. You really need to connect with yourself. You need to figure out why you allowed this, and then start loving that person that allowed it. Okay, that's another big thing, is we don't want to repeat the abuse by getting down on ourselves or being upset with ourselves. We want to love that part of ourselves. So whenever something comes up and you start feeling kind of like, maybe it's even like your partner's voice, like that can happen, where you start talking to yourself like they talk to you or whatever. If that starts happening, I want you to just see it, acknowledge it, and send love to it. It may feel weird. If you've never done this before, it may feel very weird, okay? But start sending love to that part of yourself. Understand that this isn't your fault, okay? Like, we're not putting blame here. This is just what you attracted and what you were attracted to based on your programming. So now we want to undo that. So now we want to start to love ourselves. Start looking yourself in the mirror. Put your hand on your heart and say, I love you. And really pay attention to what comes up when you say that. Because more than likely you may not love yourself fully yet. And that's okay. Everyone has a point where they reach where they're like, I could love that part of myself more. Or I don't love myself as much as I should or want to. Okay? So feel into what comes up when you tell yourself you love you, and start working with that. If you feel like you don't love yourself because of X, Y, and Z, those are your starting points. Start diving deeper into that. And I actually have, I wrote a book. The book is probably going to be turned into multiple little series. I'm going to be starting that soon. But if you want guidance with learning how to love yourself, this book is actually meant for you. I wrote this book when I came out of my abusive relationships. And, well, I didn't write it right when I came out. I wrote it several years after, once I did all the work. and worked through all of the pain and all of the trauma and rewired my brain and learned how to put up boundaries and learned how to deeply love myself for exactly who I am, no matter what. So I'll link my book down there too. It's called Reconnecting with Self. Soon it's actually probably going to be not available as this book anymore, because I really feel like if I broke it down, took each chapter, broke it down, and turned it into a mini series, it'd be able to help more people. But the book is available still. It's on my website. So until... Okay, I lost battery power, but so I'm gonna keep this short because it's already a really long video, and this is a starting point for this. If you want to reach out, connect with me, I'll speak with you over on DMs or in comments if you feel comfortable doing that. But really start to love yourself a little more and figure out what you need to be able to leave this relationship, because you are not supposed to be with this person. You're not. I feel that very strongly. And I already know, if you're here with me right now, that, yep, you know that you're not supposed to be with this person anymore. They're not good for you. They're actually doing more damage, and let's start to repair the damage. So until the next video, I love you. I'm sending so much love. I know where you're at. I've been there. It's hard, but you know what? You can get through it. You can get through it. And when you get through it and you start loving yourself, you're going to look back at this time and you're going to be like, wow, I am so glad I hit this rock bottom, because without hitting that rock bottom, I don't know how long I'd be in that relationship. Maybe I would have stayed. Maybe I would have just totally lost myself in it and never would have come out of it. So send love to that part of you right now that is in pain, that hit rock bottom, that is realizing all this. This realization is going to save you, okay? So until the next time, do the work. Really sit with yourself. Really push through that uncomfortable, and I know it's uncomfortable. I know being by yourself alone in silence without distraction is uncomfortable. But through this uncomfortableness, you're going to find peace. And you have to go through the uncomfortable to reach the peace and the acceptance of self and the love and peace. I mean, peace is the biggest thing that comes from this work. So you can do it. I believe in you. But definitely reach out if you need me.